Hello, good evening, welcome. My name is Obeng Darko. Welcome. I want to share with you team skills. Team skills, how to work together, how to work together as an individual with a mission, particularly if you some kind of enterprise, business, have a goal, because every one of us will need somebody to work with. Every dream is never accomplished just by one person. And so your ability to work together with another person, with different people, there's so much. It's not just about to work with. It's also about how the right the right requirement in terms of skills to be able to work with other people. There are things that you should know if you have to work with somebody. There are things that you must understand, and those are called skill set. It's a team skill set, you know. It's a team skills for you to be able to work with people, work with people for a long time, and be able to achieve, set the dreams, and be able to even build a business, finish a project, create something. If you don't know that, no matter how intelligent you are, if you can't work with any group of people, if you can't work with another human being, it will be very difficult for you to become successful. No matter how intelligent you are, no matter how skilled you think you are in terms of even business, if you don't know how to work with people, those you think are above you, those you think are below you, those you think are at par with you, your ability to work with them, because human beings are very complex. They have their dreams, they have their aspirations. You cannot control them, you cannot tame them. You should be able to know how to connect with people to get to the goals and to get to where you want to go. So, team skills, how to work together is you see, if you are building a business, for instance, and you have partners or you have employees, you have affiliates, uh, it's not just being the team, but the ability to get together, to be on the same page towards the goal is so much important. Some people can be in a group, but they are not on the same page. They are not working together to win. And from my later experience, it's just a waste of time for you to say that you are in a group with somebody working on something, and yet you're not working together, yet you're not on the same page. I think that a lot of the times it's just waste of resources, waste of time, waste of energy. It's not important, it's not needed. And so your ability to have that skill to be able to work with another person, to another group of people together to hit the goals, that cannot be underestimated. That cannot be underestimated. Before you can work together with somebody, I think there should be some bit of clarity as to where you are going together. Where you're going together, are you on the same page? Are you going to the same place? Do you have the same goals in mind? Do you have the same vision in mind? It's very much important. If it's a business partnership, if it's an employee who works with you, if it's whoever works with you, if there is a certain relationship, there should be some kind of agreement as to where you think you're going. Because sometimes you are together with somebody thinks that he's going to, Castle, and another person will think that they are going to Aflao. Yes, and you cannot hit your goals because you don't have the final destination. You are not thinking of the same thing. You don't have the same vision. You don't have the same goal. And so don't be. I think that there should be a level of deliberation as to where you think you're going. The goal set, the post. Maybe in 1 month time, in 2 years time, this is where we think we are all going. At least, if it's not absolutely understood, there should be some level of understanding as to where both of you are going, because if you cannot agree on where you're going, then it will be very difficult for you to go together. So that is very much important. And I think if you want to work together with the other person, you can only work with another person when you put yourself sometimes off the table, off the scale. If you are so much selfish, if you are so much concentrated on yourself, you're so much focused on your interests, it is difficult for you to work with another person. I think that if you want to work with another person, or you want to work together to achieve goals, to build a business, to build a family, whatever that you're doing, a certain level of selflessness is important. You should be able to consider the other person's interests, the interests of what you're working on, the business. You should be able to think more of others than yourself. If you think only of yourself, if you are only concentrated on what benefits you, there's no need to work with another person. If you cannot think far beyond what is important to you, don't think of working with another person. Just go as a lone ranger, they say. Just go yourself, and there's not much you can achieve if you go alone. If you go alone, you may get there fast, they say, but you will not do much, because you're just going alone. You are not using the benefit, the skill, the influence, the network of other people. But you have to put your self-interest at a very minimal status, or at a very minimal state, if you want to work with another person. It's a skill set. It's a team skill that you reduce. Every decision cannot just be because it has to benefit you. Every choice, every expenditure, every goal you cannot just think through everything as, okay, if it doesn't benefit me, if it's not in my self interest, then I am not involved. But a lot of people think like that. That's why many people don't have the ability to work with people to get anything done properly. Why? Because they are always thinking of what they will get immediately. If you're an employee in an organization, you cannot just be thinking of what every decision you make is always on what will benefit you. Because people study people look at people will look at you. People will always be thinking, what kind of person are you? That every consideration, you just have to think of yourself first. It means that you don't have that ability to team up with people and to achieve a lot. You will not grow if every decision has to just benefit you and you alone. So know what you bring on board as well. It's not just, you don't just have to know what the other people bring on board. You should also know what is the contribution. What contribution are you making with this team? What do you bring on board? What is it that you alone can do and do perfectly? Because you are coming together, you must have something to bring to the table. You must have something to bring to the table. You cannot just be you. It cannot just be you. It cannot just be the other people have all the skills and you don't have any skill, or you don't have any advantage. You don't bring anything on board, then it's dangerous. You should be able to bring something that is much important to where and what you're building. For instance, it's a business. What are you bringing? Is it the technical skills that you're bringing? Is it managerial skills that you're bringing? Is it leadership? Is it finance? What is it that you're bringing? Are you bringing network? Are you bringing strength? Are you bringing organization? What is it that you think you're bringing? Are you bringing maybe the ability to sell, ability to stand, the ability to take the heat, ability to go after the people who are not good? What is it that you think you're bringing? It's so much critical that you know what you bring. If it's a team, if it's a partnership, what are you bringing? If you're an employee, they pick you. You're working in this company. What do you think you're bringing? So much important. And then you should also know what others bring. What value do other people bring? If you don't understand some of these things, it's difficult for you to work together with somebody, because then you assume that because everything exists because of you, and not everything will exist because of you. There are things that will exist. The business will grow, the entity will grow, the enterprise will grow, because you can understand that this other partner is bringing this on board. So if you don't bring anything on board, it's very difficult. And if you don't know what other people bring on board to you, then you will take them for granted. Then you have an ego which cannot, maybe you think that everything revolves around you because you don't have that understanding that other people will bring something. Other people are bringing something. And so if you are going to work together, you must know this is what I bring, and this is what my other partner or the other people also bring. And you have a level of appreciation of the contribution of everybody. If you go to any team, if you look at any football team, any team that wins, you can see that it's not just about just one darling boy. They work together and they know where is the strength of the other people, where they are not so much strong. They know that, and they also know what they are good in and what they are not good in. If you don't have that, it will be difficult for you to work with anybody, flow with anybody to get results over the long term. You will get to a point that you become so much angry and frustrated because you underestimate what other people are bringing on board, and you probably are overestimating what you bring on board. And most often the things that break this kind of team relationship are things that, anger, frustration, people become desperate, things like that will make people to just underestimate what the team can win. Because I'm of the opinion that if you see any successful entity anyway, it's not just about the leadership. The leadership plays a very critical role, but there's no leadership when there's no team. And the strength of a leader is seen in the team, just as the strength of a team has a lot to do with leadership. So, it's just like the two sides of a coin. You cannot have that side and say that this other side is not needed. You can't buy anything with it. So you cannot say that just a strong person, strong individual, and you have no team. You can't win. And if you say that we have a very solid team but there's no leader, that becomes another situation. So, but if you see any strong team, it means that they understand to a certain level what each and everyone is bringing on board. If there's value, there's respect of the other one, what they bring, and there is respect for the other one, what they bring. If you don't have that, you don't have the skills to work with people. If you go to any institution, those who are star players, if you go to any organization, those who are star players, they know that. They know what they bring on board, and they know what the other people bring on board. It's so critical. So that, because if you don't understand that, then you take people for granted. You just offend people, and and nobody wants to be taken for granted. Don't forget that. Nobody, not even the cleaner in the organization, not even the people you think don't make any contribution. Because if the cleaner does not come to work, the office will not run. Don't forget that. If the security guy is not there, nothing will work. If just as the accountant is not there, things won't flow. Or just as the project manager is not there, things won't flow. Just as the CEO has a certain level of duties, that they do the same. Everybody is an organization, it's an organism, and everybody plays their role. And so you cannot just trivialize. The eye cannot say that I don't need the head, and then there will not be any eye. The nose cannot say that I am independent, because the nose is only able to work because it's in that infrastructure. So it's so very much important that anytime you see coordination, it's because you know that people have identified themselves. They know their difference, they know what they bring on board, and they don't take lightly what the other people also bring on board. It's very much. You have a lot of people who are just brainy in school. Very, very fantastic. They are the top all the time, but they cannot work with anybody. Because for them, they know everything. They don't ask anybody any question. They don't give anybody any chance to contribute to anything. You cannot build a business. You cannot build any idea. You cannot grow anything if you don't have this kind of skills well developed. Because not everybody won't think like you. Everybody will not agree with you. Everybody will not see the world the way you see it. Everybody might not be able to process information fast as you want them to process it, but they may be able to process it according to their level, according to their speed, and will get you results as you would want. So if you want everybody to think, dress, talk like you, then it will be very much difficult, because the strength is in the difference. It's not so much in the similarities. And so there's no relationship if there is no honesty, if there is no truthfulness. So if you want to work with somebody, one of the things that you cannot take for granted is that you must be a person who mean what they say. You mean what you say, because there is no relationship without a certain level, people taking your word as it is. So I'm working with you. The thing is 2 cedi. I know that, okay, once we're a team, if you say it's 2 cedi, it's 2 cedi. We can work with that and get results. But if it's 2 cedi and you're telling me it's 1 cedi, then I'm going to assume that it's 1 cedi. Meanwhile, the real figure is 2 cedi. We can work together and get results, and we can work together and go fast as we would want to go. Why? Because what you say means so much. I work with what you say. Any data you give me, any idea you give me, any suggestion you give me, I am assuming that you are saying it as it is, at least based on your understanding. And so there is no strength. No relationship has any strength if it is not built on honesty, if it's not built on credibility, if it's not built on truthfulness. So one of the team skills that you will need is you just have to be honest with the team. You just have to tell us as it is. At least package it and let them know. There should be a certain level of, if it's A, it's A. If it's B, it's B. So that we can get results. Because we work, we are making decision on what we are telling each other. We are making decision on what we are telling ourselves. And so if what you are telling ourselves change, then there is not going to be a team. That's why you see a man and a wife, if they are telling themselves lies, there's not going to be any family. You can work with it, there's not going to be any progress. But if you can say it as it is, I can say it as it is, then we can work with that. Then we can believe what you're telling ourselves, that okay, this is it. So where do we go from here? So there is no relationship you can work with together if somebody is not just being truthful. You just have to be truthful. Don't have to be perfect, but you have to be truthful, you have to be honest, so long as the relationship is there. So if it's a business partnership, it's a business relationship, if you're an employee, they send you and you go and cook the figures, there's trouble. If they go and change the money, it's trouble. You just have to be. If they give you a place to manage, you just have to be, because you're there, because there's a relationship. If you are not going to be honest, there's not going to be growth. That's why companies collapse, because they trust you. Nobody gives anything to anybody that they don't trust so much, So if they give you access to money, they give you access to product, they give you access to the vehicle, they give you access to the house. It's because there's a certain level of trust that they have for you. You cannot trash that. You cannot take that for granted. The moment you start to take that for granted, there's no relationship. It means that there's not going to be growth. Nothing can be built there. Not the sustainable one. And so one of the team skills that you need is what? Is your ability to be able to be truthful to the team that you work with. Because the moment you compromise that, then it's going to be difficult for you to build together. Because you are saying it's a team. You are with this team. This team is A. You're with this team. You have decided not to be with team B. So once you decided not to be with team B and you're with team A, these are the things that will help team A to succeed. If you decided to work with this company, these are the things that you have to do for the company to succeed. If you decided to work with this partner, these are the things. So the more absent some of these things are, the more wasteful, or the more you're wasting your time, your energy, your resources, your money, everything, because you're assuming that you're working, yet every day that is being given to each other is in error. It's not a true reflection of what is on the ground. And so you cannot get results on that. The thing is 20, you say it's 30. It is a waste of time. I think that it's better you break that relationship, go to where you think you can be truthful to. It's better. The moment you start to be lying and cheating and cutting corners at a place that you think you are, you're wasting your time. So you're wasting your time. And the other thing is that when things are good, your character will show. So always think of when things, maybe you started the business, everything was not working. Now that everything is working, and maybe before you didn't have money to buy kinky. Now you have money to buy kinky, you're buying cars, you're building offices. That is the time that your character will also show. When people, you don't know people, one of the ways that you try to understand the character of people is when they have money, or when they have power. Your friend, when he was broke, he was always with you. As it gets funny, you see his character. And so you have to have that nothing will change me. It's not the money, it's not those things will not change me. If it's a team and I think that this team is well equipped, well packaged, we are going to where we are going, then when we start to succeed, we are not going to break. We are rather going to grow and become stronger because you're succeeding. So that you don't waste all the experiences like that, especially if you can still agree on where you're going. And if you know the value of the team, the value of the relationship. So don't let the good times destroy the relationship. It's a very critical thing that you have to look at. When you start to succeed, you have to contain yourself and contain your ego. Because a lot of people, when they start to succeed, then all of a sudden, people cannot talk to them like that. You can't address me, like that. You have to give me a call before you come. Before you're all eating watching now that the business is succeeding, I need a permit to come to you. It is a proof that the team is not solid. Strong teams are never changed because they're succeeding. They rather become better. They are not changed they become better because they're growing. They become inspired because they're succeeding, and they bond better. If the success is the progress would have to separate you, you are not a team. You are not a team. You are just both of you were faking, or everybody was faking. The other thing is that the tough times, the rough times should not also break you. One of the things to see the quality and the decency, the strength of people is also the rough times. So if the rough time is able to make you become, exasperated, if there's a word like that, and confused, said that you are thinking of why I've wasted my time here. I spent all my time here. You are not with the team. You are with yourself. Because in tough times, that's where the team must bond to fight to win. So one thing is the successes should not break you, and then the bad, rough times should also not break you. You should be able to know how to manage the two. You should be able to manage the two. And manage the two and manage them well. So my name is Kwabena Darko. I'm talking about team skills, and I'm saying that you should know how to work together. You are not going to win at anything, whether it's business, whether it's family, if you don't know how to work with people. You should be able to work with people and work to win. Not many people know that. And if you're going to work with people and to work with people to win, then you have to know that we have an agreed preposition. You have an agreed goal that we are going at. The other thing is that you have to put your ego and your selfish desires, reduce them very much and look at the big picture. And you have to consider the other people as well. And you would have to know what you bring on board. What is it that you're bringing on board? What are the advantages that you're bringing? And what do you have a fair idea what the other people are also bringing? If you have, let's say, a husband or wife, what do you think? What value do they bring? Do you think they bring any value, or you think they don't bring any value? If you have a wife, do you think she brings any value, or she doesn't bring any value? Because the moment you trivialize that, the bonding is weakening. The other thing is you have to be honest and truthful in that team, in that relationship. It's a basic skill that you must have. If this is your team, you have to be straightforward to them. You must be truthful, because everything that you are discussing, all the quality decisions or the bad decisions that you're going to make, they're going to come out of how truthful both of you, the data you are bringing, is. So if you're cutting corners, screwing, then it will be difficult to be truthful. And the other thing is that don't let the bad times separate you, and don't let the good times also separate you. Keep your humanity, keep your simplicity. Just consider, always remember the sacrifices that every member of the team has made, and enjoy the victory. But I can guarantee you that if the relationship is built on honesty and truthfulness and selflessness, then good times will not destroy you, and bad times will also not destroy you. They will rather get you together. And if you are playing in a team, always learn to be grateful, always learn to be thankful, and always know that with a good team, you can go so much, you can do so much. Because I think, for instance, business is so tough. for just one person to take everything. Every pressure from project, from money, from people, from government, from the enemies, from friends, from families, from the country, pressure everywhere. And so I don't think it is designed for just one person to do like that. That's why most people who just do everything all by themselves, you see that they don't grow their business. If you see the man who was owning the provision shop, who does not know how to work with 3, 4, 5, 10 people, is always at the same level, very small. And in the next thing, the whole business will drop because you're not far from collapsing if it's not structured, if it's not built. If the more the team is growing, the more the business becomes stable, and the more you can actually benefit from the sweat that you have gone through. But if your ability to work with team is weak, then you will not be able to leverage all the troubles that you have endured, all the struggles that you have endured. And don't forget, everybody who comes is coming with a whole different world, a whole different thing. Everybody that you get on board, and the more quality the team is, the more bonded the team is, the more focused the team is, the faster you can achieve results. Because when there's trouble, you can see that everybody is trying to cover to make sure that things are done and done rightly. So if you believe you are a lone ranger, it will have a very much much limiting effect on you, because you think it's a company. If it's a company is not one person. Company is more than one person. If it's an organization, it cannot just be about one person. Everybody brings something on board, and so you take advantage of that. Human beings were not made to live alone. Don't forget that. Human beings were never created by God. Even himself, he said that it was good. It's not good for a man to be alone. So your ability to learn how to work with people will decide the success of the business. Everything that you're building, your ability to work with people will decide its success. Because then people will stay when things are not even working. And when things are in bad shape, the strength of the team will be proving. The strength of the team will be proving when things are in very bad shape. And you will see that people will show up when things are working. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for watching Team Skills, how to work together. Very much important. Very much important. It's more important than knowing anything to do. Your ability to work together with people to get results. You have to know that. You have to learn that. And you have to be that person who has respect and some level of humility, yes, to work with people and be thankful and be grateful. So thank you.